everybody, welcome to Bubble and Squeak. My name is Debbie and today we're going to talk about all the things that you need to make melt and pour soap. We won't be making any soap in today's video, but rather we will be talking about all the things that you need in order to start the process. So let's begin. The first thing you're going to need is something to protect the surface that you're working on. I like to use a silicone mat because they're easier to clean, but anything on your surface that is flat that is going to protect it is fine. You will need a pair of gloves to wear when you're making your soap so that you don't contaminate the soap as you're making it, and also it helps keep finger marks off your finished product. It's always a good idea to have a set of spoons on hand of different sizes in case you want to add any dry ingredients to your soap base. I like to have a pipette on hand. I use this to draw up my scenting. It has ounce markings on it, and that way I know exactly how much I'm putting into my soap base. You will need containers to melt your soap in. It doesn't matter exactly what you use as long as it's a microwave safe container, but it's a good idea to have a spout on it. These are two different ones that I tend to use. This is a Pyrex container with a small lip on it for pouring the soap. This is one I bought specifically for soaping that has a long spout on it, so it's very easy to control the soap that I'm pouring into the molds. Just make sure that you only use this for soaping once you've used them for that, and that you don't use them when you're making your food because there is soap residue in them no matter how much you clean them out. The other thing you're definitely going to need is rubbing alcohol. I like to use 91%. This is used for spraying bubbles off the top of your soap when you put them into the molds. And if you're going to be using mica powders, sometimes you use this to mix with the mica powder to add into your soap base. Something that you'll want to look at investing on in the future is something to measure the temperature of your soap if you're adding in coloring or scenting. Sometimes you want to in dried flowers and things. It's also good to know what temperature it is so that they don't just float to the surface or sink to the bottom. You can either use a candy thermometer, or this is a gun that tells you the temperature with infrared light. These are more expensive than a candy thermometer, but they are useful for an advanced soaper, and it's very important that you know the temperature of your soap before you put things into it. Something you might want to look at getting down the line too is a scale. This is one that I already have, and this way when you want to measure how much soap you're using, you put your container on it, set the weight to 0, and then put your soap in, and this way you don't waste soap as you go. You'll see how this is done later on as we go through soap making videos. I like to use these skewers to stir my soap when it's melting or melted to keep the consistency even, or when I've added in scenting and coloring to mix it all in. They're dirt cheap. I buy these at the dollar store and they're very easy to clean off and reuse. The other thing you're going to need if you're using any kind of dried colorant is a container to put your powder in and your alcohol or your water, stir them up and add them into your soap base. I like to use these little half bath bomb shells because I have them around, and they're stainless steel and they're very easy to clean. So it's just what I use. It's my preference. You can use whatever you'd like to. The other thing you're definitely going to need is a mold to put your soap base into. Now this is one I purchased off Amazon. I can make 6 bars with it. It's silicone, and I find it very easy to push the soap out when it's set. You don't have to use these. You can use any of the soap containers from Michael's, or if you have like a little square container that you know you can get the soap out of once it's set, that's fine too. I just happen to like using the silicones more than any other one because they're very easy to clean and get the soap out of when they're set. So let's talk about adding colorant to your soap. If you are going to add colorant, there's different ways you can do it. I like to use the mica powders because they're cheaper in the long run, because you're using just a little bit of powder to color your soap with some rubbing alcohol or water. I like the rainbow of colors that you can get. They seem to be endless. These are ones that I use from Stardust Micas. However, you can also use soap colorant that's liquid. These are ones I bought in Michael's. There's a lot of craft stores that sell them, or you can purchase them online, and you just drop them into your soap base. You can also use food coloring that you buy at your grocery store. I just happen to like using the micas, but these are definitely the cheapest way to do your soap. You can also add scenting into your soaps. Make sure that you're buying one that is for soap and other bath or cosmetic fragrances. This one I bought from Candora Soap, and I will put a link at the bottom of this video so that you can go to their site if you want to purchase anything. I will be listing a lot of the things, where to buy them, on this video underneath. But if you're going to use scent, make sure that it's safe for putting into your soap. And then I like to have a towel or a piece of paper towel just in case I make a mess and need to clean it up. Not necessary, but a good thing to have on hand. And last but not least, your soap bases. You can purchase these at a lot of crafting stores such as Michael's. I buy mine from Candora Soap. These are the Melt and Pour soap bases. This one is a 3 butter soap base that I love to use. And then this is my clear Melt and Pour, and there's different levels of clarity that come in the clear Melt and Pours. So depending on what you want to do, you're gonna have to look at the clarity that you're using. There are other Melt and Pour soaps that have additives in them. Again, you can buy them at a lot of DIY stores, a lot of places online, and I will put a link to the Candora Soap store, because they sell all kinds of different of the Crafter's Choice soap bases for making soap. So that's it for today. If you have any comments about this video, or if there's anything I've missed that you'd like to know about, please feel free to comment below. And I will see you again when we start making soaps. Have a good day.